if you denature an enzyme, you can't refold it. Think of a paper clip. If you were to take a paper clip and straighten it out, you'll probably never get it back into its original shape, and so you'll probably never be able to make it functional again. When they're denatured, they're permanently denatured. And so one way that enzymes can be denatured is simply by boiling them. Move back here for a second. Not there. Here we go. So, notice a couple of interesting things about this graph here. Each enzyme has a particular optimum temperature that it works best at. If you go lower than that temperature, you're not denaturing the enzyme. The rate slows down simply because you're slowing down all the molecules. So not denatured on that side, but if you increase beyond its optimum temperature, then the rate is dropping off because you are denaturing the enzyme. So kind of understand what's going on both sides of the curve in terms of why the rate is getting lower. And incidentally, the denaturing of the enzymes is why we cook our food or boil our food. What we're trying to do is kill off the bacteria. Here we go. We're worried about bacteria on that food getting inside of us and making us sick. Well, when you cook them at high temperatures, you are denaturing the enzymes of the bacteria, and that's what kills them off. You can't survive if your enzymes are not functioning because you have no chemical reactions going on then. Now, the proteins of the meat itself get denatured also, but that's fine. All we're interested in is the amino acids, and all the amino acids are still there, even if you've denatured the enzyme. Or denature the protein, so that's fine, but it kills off the bacteria for us. And it's not just temperature. pH can also potentially denature an enzyme. Here's a curve for an enzyme called trypsin enzyme. And similar to temperature, notice it has an optimum pH right about here. And if you make it more acidic than its optimum pH or more basic than its optimum pH, you're also going to denature the enzyme. So each protein has an optimal temperature and an optimal pH that it functions best at. As a rule of thumb, the best temperature and the best pH for a protein are its natural environment, wherever you particularly find that protein. Inside of our bodies, well, what's body temperature in degrees Celsius? 37 degrees Celsius. And a typical body pH is around 7.5. Most of our body fluids are that. And so for most enzymes inside of us, you'll find an optimum pH of around 7.5 and an optimum temperature of around 37. What part of your body has a much lower pH? More acidic pH?
Your stomach.
Your stomach does, right. And so enzymes you find in your stomach will have an optimum pH a lot lower than 7.5, and that's what pepsin is. It's the stomach enzyme, optimal pH around 2. What do you think its optimal temperature is for pepsin?
37.
Probably 37, because that's your stomach is still body temperature. Let's see. There are some microscopic organisms that you find in these boiling hot springs in various parts of the world. And those bacteria and archaea and things that live there, they have to survive in these boiling temperatures. And so for those particular organisms, you would expect their optimum temperature to be close to boiling point. And it is for their enzymes. And to pick another example, there are certain areas of the world where the soils are very basic pH. And I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure that if you look at the microorganisms that live in those soils, their optimum pHs for their enzymes are probably way over at this end because that is their natural environment. Okay, so you can denature an enzyme by boiling it or moving it to a pH that's different from its optimal pH. And You can also denature one by changing its amino acid sequence, and that's something I mentioned before with hemoglobin as an example. Even if you just change one single amino acid out of the whole hundreds in its primary structure, that is often enough to cause it to misfold, and so you're probably going to deactivate the enzyme. You know, if it doesn't fold right, you're not going to get the right binding site. Like hemoglobin protein, a good example there. All right, I want to finish off with one final topic related to amino acids. Your body needs amino acids to construct your proteins out of, and you get amino acids every time you eat high protein foods. And here's a good example. Meats are very high protein foods. They typically come from muscles of cows or chickens or turkeys, whatever kind of meat it is. Dairy products are high protein. Eggs, especially the egg white, is very high protein. Nuts are high protein. And anything from the bean family, the legumes, including tofu, which is a soybean, are going to be high in protein also. So when you eat any of these foods, your body breaks them down into their separate amino acids. So you get the raw amino acids, and then your body then takes those amino acids and constructs them into your own proteins. Now, remember there are 20 different amino acids. Some of the 20 amino acids you don't actually need to get in your diet because your body can construct them for itself. In fact, the number is 12 for us. 12 of the 20 amino acids your body can make out of carbohydrates and fats and other things, so you don't got to eat those ones in your diet. But for 8 of the amino acids, you've got to get them in your diet because your body just is not able to construct these 8 amino acids. And so they call those essential amino acids. Those are amino acids that an organism can't make for itself, and so it's got to get them from the food it eats. And for human beings, 8 of the 20 amino acids are essential. For other organisms, it's probably a different number. Depends which organism you're talking about. But for us, there are 8 essential amino acids. And the next slide lists the 8 essential amino acids. You don't have to memorize this. I'm not going to ask you to name them. But they are the amino acids: tryptophan, methionine, valine, threonine, phenylalanine, leucine, isoleucine, and lysine. Now, if you get your proteins, get your amino acids from animal products like meat or eggs or milk, you're guaranteed of getting all your essential amino acids, because they sometimes say that these proteins are complete protein, meaning that they have all 20 amino acids, so you're guaranteed of getting your essential amino acids. If you are a vegetarian and avoid all animal products, no meats, no dairy, no eggs, and just eat vegetables, the problem is some plants are sometimes low in certain essential amino acids. For instance, what this chart is saying is, if you went on some sort of strange diet where you only ate corn, nothing else, corn has 6 of the 8 amino acids, but it does not have much isoleucine or lysine, and so you would come down with some sort of nutritional disease because your body would not have these amino acids and would not be able to make all the proteins it was supposed to be making. Beans have these 6 essential amino acids, but not too much tryptophan or methionine. So if you ate only beans as your protein source, you get, again, come down with some sort of nutritional deficiency. And so the message here is not that you have to eat meat. Being a vegetarian is actually a very healthy lifestyle, but it just means if you are a vegetarian, you have to get your protein sources from more than one plant type. So you'll have rice and beans, or have rice and corn and soy or something like that.
So since amino acids are basically the building blocks of proteins, and amino acids can't be denatured, right? They're just
individual amino acids cannot be denatured, that's true.
So then you can, so in the concept of being able to take a pill with a bunch of amino acids in it, and your body being able to absorb those amino acids is valid, right? Because I've heard that I've heard people say that certain like supplemental vitamins don't really work. Like they just sell them and you buy them and you take them, but they don't really do anything for your body because your body can't really absorb them in that form.
As far as like an amino acid supplement, as far as I know, those should work for you because your body, your digestive system is very good at absorbing the amino acids from the proteins that you eat. So if you took a pill of amino acids, that should work. That's as far as I can tell. Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like eating pre-digested meats. Okay, well, that's pretty much all I had to say here for that lecture. The laboratory you'll do today is pretty well described from the handout. Just go through the handout. In essence, what you're going to be doing is constructing some proteins. These packets have little cards of amino acids, and you'll, on your desktop, link together some proteins, link together some amino acids to make some proteins. And at various spots, it'll say, "Show me the protein you made." So just flag me down, and I'll say yes, you did it correctly, or no, you didn't do it correctly. Some of these packets may be missing some of the proteins or some of the substrate molecules. And if you can't seem to find, if it looks like something's missing, come up here and I'll see if I can find one for you.